Dr. Leo was not used to silence in space. His small medical station floated near the edge of neutral territory, far from Earth, far from trouble. The few cases he got were usually space miners with burns, small colonies asking for medicine, or the occasional broken bone. But that day, everything changed. The alarm rang. Emergency signal received. Unknown vessel. Royal code encryption. Leo stared at the screen. Royal? That wasn't normal. He pressed the button to accept the call. A shaky voice came through, speaking in the galactic common language. Help, Princess. Critical. We request immediate human medical assistance. Leo blinked. Human. Why would alien royalty ask for a human doctor? He didn't waste time. Grabbing his portable medkit, he signaled the ship's AI to guide the royal vessel to docking. Moments later, a large golden cruiser connected with his station. The doors opened and heavily armored guards rushed in. Between them, on a floating stretcher, was a pale, unconscious alien girl. Her skin shimmered faintly, almost silver blue. Her hair looked like soft strands of glowing thread. Leo had never seen her kind before, but he knew one thing: she was dying. Is this the princess? Leo asked quickly. One of the guards nodded. Princess Aelira of House Varel. Healers failed. We were told. Human doctors are strange. They try things others don't. That was true. Humans were known for their creativity, especially in medicine. Where others followed rules, humans experimented, took risks. Leo began scanning her body. The results confused him. Her organs are failing, but not from infection. It looks like toxic energy buildup. The guard stared. She absorbed a cursed relic by mistake. Her body fights it, but she weakens every hour. Leo's mind raced. The data didn't match any case he had seen. He didn't know Valari biology, but one thing was clear: she wouldn't survive another day. I need to perform emergency cell cleansing, Leo said, but I'll need your trust. I have to use a human method. It's risky. The guards looked unsure. One whispered, "You do anything wrong, and we'll kill you." Leo nodded. He was used to pressure. He rushed to his small operation room, using a mix of nanites and an energy drain filter, something no Valari would ever try. He began the procedure. Sweat dripped down his face. The room was quiet except for the sound of machines humming and the beeping of the heart monitor. After 2 hours, the toxin level dropped. Her color returned. Her heart stabilized. Leo leaned back, exhausted. "She's alive," he whispered. The guards stared, stunned. One of them, the captain, stepped forward. "You did it," he said. "You saved the princess." Leo looked down at the girl. She was breathing slowly, eyes still closed, but she was stable. He had no idea that this moment would change his life forever. Princess Aelira lay still on the medbed. Her chest rose and fell slowly. She was no longer in danger, but she had not woken up yet. Dr. Leo checked the monitors again. Her heart rate was strong. Her oxygen levels were better. But he was worried. Something inside her was still unstable. Her body was fighting, as if it didn't trust the human treatment fully. The royal guards stood in the corner, watching every move. One of them, the captain named Theric, stepped closer. "Why hasn't she woken up?" Leo spoke calmly. "She went through a lot. Her body is healing, but her mind needs rest. She will wake up. Soon, I hope." Theric narrowed his eyes. "Hope is not enough. If the king arrives and sees her like this..." Leo nodded. "Then I'll make sure she wakes up before that." He spent the next few hours checking her blood, cleaning her wounds, and making small adjustments to the nanites. He also gave her a soft medicine used for human coma recovery. It was risky, but time was short. That night, as he sat beside her, he spoke softly. "You don't know me. I'm just a doctor from Earth. I don't care about royal titles. I just want you to live." To his surprise, her fingers twitched. Leo leaned closer. Elira. Her eyes fluttered. Slowly, her eyelids opened, revealing glowing violet eyes filled with confusion and weakness. She looked around, trying to understand where she was. "Where am I?" she whispered. Leo smiled. "You're safe. You were dying, but I saved you." She blinked slowly. "You are not Valerie." "No," Leo said. "I'm human." Her lips curved slightly. "Strange, but kind." She closed her eyes again, but this time it wasn't from pain. It was rest. Theric stepped forward. He had watched everything. "You did what our royal healers could not. She lives because of you." Leo stood up. "She still needs recovery. But yes, she's going to live." Another guard spoke. "Our empire owes you, human." Leo was quiet. He didn't expect thanks. He just did what he was trained to do. Later, the ship's communication screen lit up again. This time, it was not a distress signal. It was a royal order. "Prepare the princess. The king's ship arrives at dawn." Leo felt a chill. He had never met alien royalty. And now he was about to stand before the most powerful ruler of the Valerie Empire. The guard said one more thing before leaving the room. "If the king is pleased, he will reward you. But if he sees weakness in her again, you may not survive." Leo looked down at the resting princess. "I didn't save her for a reward," he whispered. "But I'll protect her from anything, even her own people." The next morning, the entire space station felt tense. The royal cruiser, much larger and more advanced than anything Leo had seen before, slowly approached and connected to the docking bay. Guards in black and gold armor stepped out with perfect discipline. And behind them, the king of the Valerie Empire arrived. Tall, proud, with a crown made of silver roots that seemed to move like they were alive, King Varian stepped into the station without a word. His glowing green eyes scanned everything. Dr. Leo stood calmly, though his heart beat faster. Theric, the royal guard captain, stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, Princess Elira lives. This human saved her." The king gave no reaction. "Take me to her," he ordered. Inside the medical room, Elira sat up with help. She was still weak, but she smiled when she saw her father. "Father, I live," she said softly. King Varian walked over and knelt beside her, placing his hand on her cheek. His voice changed. It was softer, filled with relief. "You scared me, daughter." She nodded. "I would not be here, if not for him." Her hand pointed to Leo. The king turned. "What method did you use?" Leo hesitated. "A human nanite procedure and an energy drain filter. I had no other choice." The Valerie healers gasped. The energy drain filter was forbidden in their empire. It was believed to harm the soul. To them, it was dark science. "You used forbidden technology on my daughter," one royal healer shouted. "She would have died without it." Leo answered firmly. The room went quiet. The king stood tall again. "You did what others feared to do," he said. "You broke rules to save life." Leo nodded. "Yes, I did." The king looked around at his shocked council. "That is something only humans would dare." Then he turned back to Leo. "You saved my daughter, and you stood your ground. For this, you are now a guest of the crown." The guards looked surprised. One whispered, "A human, now favored." King Varian continued, "You will return with us to Valeris Prime. You will stay in the palace and continue to treat Elira." Leo tried to speak, but the king raised a hand. "This is not a request. It is an honor." Leo looked at Elira. She gave a soft nod. There was trust in her eyes. So he bowed slightly and said, "I accept." As the royal ship prepared to leave, some alien healers glared at him. They didn't like a human stepping into their world. Leo knew it wouldn't be easy, but he had saved a life. And now he was stepping into a new world, one where his presence could change everything. The journey to Valeris Prime took several days. Leo was escorted by the royal guards, always surrounded by eyes watching his every move. He was a human in an alien world, a world where humans were unknown and feared. As the royal ship entered the Valeri capital, Leo couldn't help but be amazed by the sight. The planet was a jewel, surrounded by glittering rings of asteroids. The city itself was a blend of towering structures and glowing spires, all made of materials that seemed to pulse with energy. When they docked, the royal family's palace stood before them, larger than anything Leo had ever seen, even in books. It was built from silver stone that shimmered under the twin suns of Valeris Prime. He couldn't help but feel small as he was led into the grand halls. In the palace, everything moved with perfect precision. Servants glided past, and soldiers stood at attention. As Leo walked through the halls, he felt as though he was being tested by the court. Every Valeri noble seemed to observe him, studying the human who had saved their princess. The king's voice echoed in the grand chamber as he addressed the court. "This human," he began, his gaze sweeping over Leo, "is now part of our family. He saved my daughter's life and broke the rules to do so. In the empire of Valeri, such courage is rare." The nobles looked at each other, whispering among themselves. Some nodded in approval, while others seemed uncertain. A few of them spoke out. "But he is a human. They are nothing more than animals to us." Another noble added, "He used forbidden technology to save the princess. That is against our laws." Leo stood still, trying not to react. He knew this was not going to be easy, but he had no choice. He had saved Elira, and now he had to earn their respect. The king's gaze hardened. "Enough," he commanded. "This human is my guest and my friend. If any of you cannot accept that, then you are free to leave." There was a long silence, and Leo could feel the tension in the air. But then, the princess spoke. "Father," Elira said softly, standing beside Leo. "I trust him. He gave me a second chance. No one else could do that." The room fell silent once more. The princess, the heir to the Valeri throne, had spoken in favor of the human. That carried weight. King Varian turned his gaze to Leo. "You will stay with us and continue your work. I want you to heal our people, and in return, I will offer you protection, riches, and titles. But know this, some will never accept you. Not all Valeri are as forgiving as I am." Leo bowed slightly. "I understand, Your Majesty. I didn't come here for riches or titles. I came to heal." The king nodded. "Then heal, human. Prove that you are more than just a savior to my daughter. Prove you are worthy of being in our world." Leo nodded, knowing his journey was far from over. But as he looked at Elira, he saw the trust in her eyes. He would fight for that trust, no matter what. Life in the Valeri palace was not what Leo had expected. He spent his days in grand halls, healing nobles who came to him for treatment. The king's orders were clear. Leo was to be treated with respect. Yet, no matter how kind the king was, the rest of the court made sure to remind Leo of his place. Each day, Leo faced whispers behind his back, cold stares, and occasional comments that tried to undermine his presence. Some Valeri refused to accept that a human could heal their people. To them, humans were too primitive, too strange. Leo didn't let it bother him. He focused on his work, trying to help those who came to him, whether they were a noble or a servant. But it was hard to ignore the tension that simmered in the air. One morning, Leo was working in the royal clinic, treating a minor wound on a young noble's arm, when the door to his office slammed open. Theric, the royal guard captain, walked in, his face tight with worry. "Doctor," Theric said, his voice low, "the king wants to see you." Now, Leo stood up quickly, wiping his hands on a cloth. He had never been summoned by the king for something serious. This was not a good sign. They walked through the grand hallways together, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the empty space. As they approached the king's chamber, Leo felt a knot form in his stomach. What had he done wrong? When they entered the room, King Varian stood by the window, staring out at the view of the city. He didn't turn when they entered, but his voice was calm. "Leo," the king began, "I have received reports that some of the court do not respect you. They think you are unworthy of your place here." Leo opened his mouth to speak, but the king raised his hand. "It doesn't matter," he continued. "What matters is that you continue your work. You are here to heal, not to be liked." Leo felt a rush of relief. "I understand, Your Majesty." The king turned around, his eyes meeting Leo's. "I have another task for you. There is a sickness spreading in the lower cities, one that even our best healers cannot cure. I need you to find a way to stop it. No one else has succeeded. If you do, it will prove once and for all that you are more than just a human doctor." Leo nodded, understanding the weight of the task. The king's approval was at stake, and if he failed, it wouldn't just be his life in danger. It would be the princess's as well. Before Leo could leave, the king added, "I will protect you, but know this. Some will try to stop you. The court fears your power." Leo swallowed. He knew the king was right. He wasn't just fighting a sickness now. He was fighting for his place in this world and the princess's future. The task given to Leo seemed simple enough. Find a cure for a strange disease that was spreading quickly through the lower cities. But as he worked tirelessly, he realized that the disease was not only physical, it had a psychological effect on its victims. They became weak, afraid, and disoriented. No medicine he had on hand could heal the mind, as well as the body. Leo spent days running tests, experimenting with different combinations of human and Valari medicine, but the disease only seemed to grow worse. The clock was ticking. Every day more people were affected, and every day, Leo felt the pressure building. Back at the palace, the nobles continued to watch him with suspicion. Some of them whispered openly about his human methods. Others openly mocked him, convinced that a human could not possibly save their people. Despite the king's protection, Leo felt like an outsider. He had saved the princess, but he wasn't sure how long his luck would last. One evening, Leo sat in the palace garden, exhausted and frustrated. He had just come from a meeting with the king, who had expressed his faith in Leo, but also his concern about the disease spreading unchecked. The pressure to find a cure was more than Leo could handle alone. "You look troubled, doctor," came a soft voice behind him. He turned and saw Elira standing there, her expression soft and understanding. She had been his first ally in the Valari court, the first to trust him completely. She smiled as she sat beside him. "It's just difficult," Leo admitted. "This disease is unlike anything I've seen before. I can't stop it." Elira's eyes softened with sympathy. "My father believes in you," she said. "And I do too. You saved my life. Leo, you've proven more than you're worth." Leo sighed. "I'm not worried about proving myself anymore. I'm worried about failing." Elira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You will not fail. You are the only one who can do this." Just then, a figure appeared in the doorway of the garden. Theric, the royal captain, stood there, his face unreadable. "Doctor," he said, "there are whispers in the court. They say you failed, that you won't be able to find the cure. The nobles are losing patience." Leo felt his heart sink. He had expected this, but hearing it aloud made it feel real. "They do not understand," Elira said, her voice firm. "They cannot see what you are doing for our people. You are the one who saved me. You are the one who will save us all." Theric nodded. "The king is still on your side, Leo. But the court, they are growing restless." Leo stood up, determination filling him. "Then I'll make them understand. I'll find the cure, and I'll prove that humanity is capable of more than they think." Elira gave him an encouraging smile. "You are more than capable, Leo. I believe in you." With renewed determination, Leo set to work again. He wasn't just fighting for a cure anymore. He was fighting for his place in this world, for Illyria, and for the future of the Valeri Empire. Leo worked tirelessly for days, locked away in the royal laboratory, trying every combination of medicine and technology he could think of to cure the disease. He had learned the Valeri way of medicine, but this illness was unlike anything he had ever seen. It twisted the mind as much as the body. He had a breakthrough, but it was not enough to stop the disease completely. One evening, as he was going through his notes, Theric appeared at the door. The look on his face was serious, and Leo knew something was wrong. "Doctor," Theric said quietly, "the court has started to turn against you. They believe you are the cause of the disease. Some of them say that your human methods are poisoning our people." Leo felt a wave of disbelief. "What? That's not possible. I'm trying to help them." "I know that," Theric said, "but the nobles are powerful. They've started spreading rumors that your treatments are causing more harm than good. Some even say you're here to destroy the Valeri people." Leo's heart sank. He had expected resistance, but this was more than just suspicion. There was a growing movement against him. The whispers in the court had turned into accusations. He couldn't believe it was happening so quickly. "The king is still on your side," Theric added, "but even he can't ignore the pressure from the nobles. They want you gone, Leo." Leo stood up, pacing back and forth in frustration. "I've done nothing wrong. I've saved the princess's life. I've tried to help them all." Theric's eyes softened. "I know, but the court does not see it that way. They see a human who is a threat to their power." Leo clenched his fists, anger rising within him. "I won't leave. I've worked too hard, and I won't let them ruin everything I've done." Theric nodded. "I understand, but be careful. Some of them are already making plans to have you removed. You may be the royal healer, but your life could be in danger." Leo's mind raced. He couldn't just sit back and wait to be pushed out. He had to prove himself, not just as a healer, but as someone worthy of being in this world. "I will not run," Leo said firmly. "I will stay here and finish my work. If they want to stop me, they will have to do it themselves." Theric gave him a long look, then nodded. "I will help you, Leo. I may not be able to fight the nobles directly, but I can watch your back. You are not alone in this." Leo smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you, Theric. I need all the help I can get." As Theric left, Leo felt more determined than ever. He wasn't just fighting for a cure anymore. He was fighting for his place, for Illyria's future, and for the trust that had been placed in him. He would not let the nobles tear it all apart. Leo returned to his research with a new sense of purpose. The court might try to bring him down, but he wasn't going anywhere. Not until he had proven that he was more than just a human doctor. He was a hero. The news of the disease spreading through the lower cities had reached the royal palace. It was worse than Leo had imagined. Thousands of people were falling ill, their bodies weak and their minds clouded. No one had been able to stop it, and time was running out. If the disease continued to spread, the entire Valeri Empire could be at risk. Leo knew he had to act fast. He gathered every piece of information he had, every medical book, every note from his previous treatments. But still, he didn't have the answer. He sat in the palace lab for hours, running tests, making adjustments, but nothing worked. The Princess Illyria visited him every day, offering words of encouragement. But even her presence couldn't ease the weight on his shoulders. He had already saved her once. Could he save an entire empire? Then one day, while Leo was deep in thought, a sudden realization hit him. He remembered something from Earth, something forgotten in the rush of technology and advanced medicine. It was an ancient technique, one that humans had used centuries ago, before the age of modern science. It was a simple, yet effective, method for boosting the immune system, helping the body fight off infections on its own. Leo didn't waste any time. He started experimenting with the old method, combining it with his knowledge of Valeri biology and nanite technology. It was a gamble, a risk, but it was the only chance he had left. Days passed, and as he worked, Leo couldn't help but feel the eyes of the court upon him. The nobles had grown more hostile, their whispers growing louder. They didn't believe in his methods, and some were even spreading rumors that Leo's treatments were making the disease worse. It didn't matter to Leo. He had a job to do. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Leo was ready. He had created a serum, a mix of the old human technique and the latest in Valeri technology. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. He rushed to the lower city where the disease had hit hardest, knowing that this would be his greatest test yet. Lyra accompanied him, her presence a reminder of the faith the king had placed in him. She was worried, but she refused to leave his side. "You can do this, Leo," she said softly. "I believe in you." When they arrived at the city's main hospital, Leo wasted no time. He injected the first patient with the serum. The man was weak, his skin pale and his mind foggy. But within moments he began to stir. His color returned, and his breathing became steady. It worked. Leo couldn't believe it. The serum was doing what no one else had been able to do. It was healing. Word spread quickly, and soon more patients lined up. Leo worked tirelessly, administering the serum to as many people as he could. By the end of the day, he had saved hundreds. The disease was finally starting to retreat. Back at the palace, the king watched in silence. The nobles, who had once doubted Leo, now watched with awe. Leo had not only saved the princess, but the entire empire. His human methods had proven more effective than anything their healers had tried. King Varian stood, his voice strong. "This human has saved us. He is not just a healer. He is a hero." The nobles, now silent, could only bow in respect. Leo didn't care about the titles or the praise. All that mattered was that the people were safe. He had done what no one else could. And in that moment, he knew that he had earned his place in the Valeri Empire. The disease that had threatened the Valeri Empire was finally under control, thanks to Leo's relentless work. The people of Valeris Prime were recovering, and the whispers in the court had quieted. The nobles, once so critical of him, were now filled with awe and respect. Leo had done the impossible, and the whole empire knew it. One morning, as Leo walked through the royal gardens, he was stopped by a familiar voice. "Dr. Leo, wait." He turned to see Lyra, the princess, walking toward him with a smile. Her eyes sparkled with gratitude, and Leo couldn't help but smile back. "You've done more than I could ever have hoped," Lyra said. "My father is pleased, and so am I. You saved our people." Leo chuckled softly. "I only did what was needed." Lyra stepped closer, her gaze softening. "You saved my life first. I owe you everything." Before Leo could respond, Theric, the captain of the royal guards, appeared. "The king requests your presence, Dr. Leo," Theric said, his tone respectful. Leo's heart raced. He had heard rumors that the king had been considering offering him something. A reward, perhaps, but he wasn't sure what to expect. The king had always been kind, but he hadn't shown much personal affection toward Leo. He had always kept a distance. Theric led Leo through the palace halls, and they arrived at the king's private chamber. King Varian was sitting at his desk, his royal attire making him appear even more imposing. But when he looked up and saw Leo, his expression softened. "Ah, Leo," the king said, standing and walking toward him. "You have done what no one else could. You saved my daughter. You saved my empire. You are more than just a healer to me now. You are a friend." Leo felt a warmth spread through him at the king's words. He had never imagined that he would be called a friend by someone so powerful. The king continued, "I have thought long and hard about how to repay you for your service. And while words cannot fully express my gratitude, I can offer you something more." He paused, then smiled. "I hereby grant you a title, Royal Physician to the Valeri Empire. You will have a place in the palace, and I will personally see to it that you are treated as one of us." Leo blinked, taken aback by the offer. He hadn't expected anything so grand. "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say." The king placed a hand on Leo's shoulder. "Say nothing. You've earned this." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes filled with pride. "I'm glad to see my father recognizes your worth, Leo. You've proven yourself in ways I never imagined. Not just to me, but to the entire empire." Leo smiled at her, feeling both humbled and proud. He had come to Valoris not knowing what to expect. But now, standing here, he realized that he had found more than just a place among the Valori people. He had found his new purpose. The king looked at him one last time. "Stay with us, Leo. You are no longer just a human doctor. You are one of us. And I trust that you will continue to serve this empire with the same courage and dedication you have already shown." Leo bowed deeply, his heart full of gratitude. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will not let you down." Leo stood in the grand hall of the palace, now officially the royal physician of the Valori Empire. The title still felt surreal to him, but it was real. He had earned his place among the Valori, not as a guest or a foreigner, but as someone who had saved them, someone they could trust. The change was visible in how the nobles treated him now. They had once looked down on him as an outsider, but now they respected him as one of their own. The whispers that had once followed him in the halls of the palace had turned into words of respect. People who had doubted him now came to him for advice, even for help. Lyra, the princess, had been at his side every step of the way. Her gratitude toward him had never wavered. It was clear to everyone that she trusted him more than anyone else in the palace, and Leo felt the same. She had become more than just a patient. She had become a friend, and perhaps something more. As they stood together on a balcony overlooking the city, Lyra turned to him, her voice soft. "You have done more for our people than anyone could have asked. You didn't just save my life, you saved us all." Leo smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I didn't do it alone. The king supported me, and so did you. Without you, none of this would have been possible." Lyra's eyes sparkled with warmth. "You're too humble. You are the reason we are here today, standing together." Leo felt a deep connection with her, something beyond just gratitude. He had found a new home here, not just in the palace, but in the hearts of the people. But more than that, he had found a purpose. He wasn't just a healer anymore. He was part of something greater. He was part of the Valori Empire. The king, now fully recovered from the disease that had threatened his people, called for a celebration in Leo's honor. It wasn't just a party. It was a declaration of Leo's place in the empire, a celebration of everything he had done for the Valori. As the festivities began, the palace was filled with music and laughter. Leo stood beside Lyra, looking out at the vibrant crowd. The once hostile nobles had become his allies, and the people of the empire respected him for the work he had done. The king had kept his promise. Leo was no longer a stranger in their world. "You did it," Lyra whispered to Leo as they watched the people celebrate. "You changed everything. For us. For the empire. For me." Leo turned to face her, his heart full. "And I'll continue to change it, as long as I'm here." The night stretched on, but Leo no longer felt out of place. He had found his home among the Valori. He had earned his title, his respect, and his place in history. He wasn't just a human doctor anymore. He was a hero. As the stars shone brightly over the palace, Leo knew that his journey had only just begun. There was more to be done, more to heal, and more to discover. But for the first time, he was certain of one thing. He was exactly where he was meant to be.